Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon here on YouTube, and then I post it up to Facebook. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. If you feel you need a therapist, please go to Google, type in therapy, your city, Psychology Today will pop up. Click on that and it will have, of course, the helicopter comes over right in the middle of this. You will have all of the therapists in your area. Also, the views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other therapist for that matter. Boom, shakalaka, done. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about the roles that our abusers make us play. So, and I want to go beyond just the family roles, just like the golden child, the ignored middle child, the scapegoat, etc. But I do want to talk about those because yesterday when I was doing the workshop here in Las Vegas, we were talking about the roles that the narcissist forces us into beyond those roles. So I want to go through all of that. Also, I want to say a big, ginormous thank you to the participants yesterday. It was awesome. I love meeting you guys. I love answering your questions. Susanna loves meeting you guys. She loves answering your questions. It's a lot of fun and we really love helping you guys. So this was cool. So the next thing that we're doing is the cruise, which is December 6th through the 9th. Susanna and I will both be on the cruise. So that's very exciting and it's going to be a lot of fun. And you get us for 3 whole days. So you get to ask whatever questions you need. So that's a good thing. So there is that. Also, if you guys could pretty please, sweetheart darlings, loves of my lives, hi guys, if you could pretty please send loves to any other YouTubers that you are listening to that have helped you, I'd really greatly appreciate it. I heard from Shahida Arabi that she got hit by a bunch of trolls. I don't know what the hell's going on, but I've been hearing it from other YouTubers as well, that all of a sudden recently they've been getting hit by nasties. So if you could just do shout outs to like Lisa Romano and Shahida Arabi and Dwayne Robert and, you know, anybody and everybody who has helped you guys, I would really appreciate it because the more good there is out there, the less the bad wins. So anyway, there's that. I just wanted to say that. Okay, so let's dive into what I want to talk about. So when we are in an abusive relationship, whether it is a romantic relationship or whether it is a family, you know, like a mom, dad, grandmother, etc. relationship, they try to force us into roles. Why? Well, narcissists don't deal with change very well. They don't deal with different things happening. They can't handle people being real. They can't handle authenticity at all, ever, period. So what a parental narcissist will do, a malignant narcissist, what they will do is they will force the children into certain roles. So there'll be the golden child. The golden child can do absolutely no wrong. And is actually a mini-me of the abuser. Then you've got like the scapegoat. The scapegoat can do absolutely no right. They can't be good enough. They can't be bad enough. It's kind of like, you know, they're ignored. They don't even exist. It's like, you know, or they can't be. I'm sorry. The scapegoat never is right. Then you've got the ignored middle child. That's the one I was going for. The ignored middle child is never good enough, is never bad enough. It's like they don't exist. They're not even there. So golden child, scapegoat, ignored middle child, and then usually the youngest one is the comedian. The youngest one is the one that tries to keep things light, tries to keep the family moving along, is the diplomat, is, you know, trying to get, you know, oils the machine so, you know, the family doesn't come to a crashing halt, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, when you've got an individual that is an only child, this is where it gets really hard for them. In a family where there is an only child, that only child could be the golden child, it could be the scapegoat, or the family could be crazy enough that they keep switching it back and forth so that this kid doesn't even know who they are. So there's a lot of variations of the what role are you playing. In some families, you're the golden child and that's it, if it's an only child situation. In other families, it is you're not the golden child, you're the scapegoat, and I'm going to make you my whipping post, and that's the way it's going to be. And in other families, it is you're the only child, and therefore you are going to be whatever the narcissist, the abuser, decides they need at the time. So they will force the kids sometimes to be the golden child, and then other times they'll be the scapegoat, and other times they'll ignore them. So it's really confusing for children of narcissists what's going on. And it's especially confusing for children when they have been the golden child, and then the narcissist flips the script and then says, "Oh no, you're bad, you're wrong, you're this, you're that, you." So there is that. So also, when you get into really, really dysfunctional families, this is when we get into the second mom, second dad. So usually the older kids, not always, but usually the older kids are the ones that are having to raise the younger kids, because the narcissist abdicates responsibility. I have seen narcissists intentionally get pregnant, go through the whole in vitro fertilization process, and then proceed to absolutely not raise those kids at all. And the whole reason they had the kids was to connect themselves to the parent, the other parent, so that they would have a connection for 18 years. I've seen them do that. They are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But then the kids suffer because the kids are shunted to the side, raised by other family members, raised by nannies, not cuddled, not held, not played with, not loved, not anything. So it's really hard on children when there is a narcissistic parent. So this is something that I want to bring up, is that oftentimes I hear people say, "Oh, but I don't want to leave for the sake of the kids." Listen to me now, believe me later. If you are involved with a narcissist, yes, it is scary, because yes, there's going to be custody. Yes, you're going to have your kids go over and see them. Yes, there's going to be 50-50, parallel parenting. You're not going to be co-parenting. You're going to be parallel parenting. But staying with a narcissist and allowing that dysfunctional behavior to continue, and not being able to model for your kids how to get away, how to stand up for yourself, how to be your own person, not being able to do that is going to damage them more if you stay in that relationship than if you risk getting out and then do the parallel parenting. And a lot of parents are like, "Oh my God, no, I don't want my kids going over there. I'm going to have to undo everything that the narcissist has done. What if I lose them? What if the narcissist, what if? Yeah, well, yeah, there's a lot of risks in there, but I honestly believe it is healthier for the children for you to get the hell out. Whether your abuser is male or female, get the hell out, get the kids away from it, and get them into therapy." So that's the big thing, is that a lot of these narcissists are very keen on not allowing the kids to go to therapy. So when you're in a custody situation, you want to make sure that you put into the custody agreement that they get to go to therapy. That's what you want to do. All right, so let's talk about the other roles that narcissists push us into. So when we were talking yesterday, a lot of the clients were saying things like a lot of the participants were saying things like, my abuser insisted on getting rid of the money. They went through the money, they plowed through it, they insisted that I work, and they didn't work a bit, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that is one thing that narcissists can do. And both male and female narcissists do this. So they will get involved with a relationship. They will mirror to the person how, successful they are and how independent they are and how much money they make and blah, 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 blah. But then they get into the relationship, and as soon as they're in the relationship, they lose their job. And they don't work, and they don't ever bother looking for a job, and they never get a job, and they're constantly not working, forcing the other person to be the main breadwinner. And male narcissists do that, female narcissists do that. So what I see in other roles that narcissists force us into is that they are very rigid. They're very black and white in their thinking. They are very rigid and black and white in what roles their partner should have, or what roles their children should have. So honestly, what I've seen them do is they will either do the whole, you are a female, you have to stay home, you have to cook, you have to clean, that's your job, I'm not going to take care of the kids, blah, 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 blah. I have seen male narcissists do that. But I have also seen male narcissists do the whole, you need to work, I'm going to stay home, but they still don't take care of the kids and they still don't do any of the other. It's like they have this sense of entitlement, like they feel like it's beneath them to take care of their own children. They consider taking care of the children babysitting. I've heard them say that. Oh, well, I'm babysitting the kids, as opposed to I'm spending time with my own child. Hello. So there is that. And then other things that they do is they're very homophobic. I cannot tell you the number of disordered abusers that disown our children when them out of the closet and are very homophobic and very vocal about it and very nasty about it and not wanting to have their kids be around them if they don't fit quote unquote gender roles or if they don't fit quote unquote sexual roles or whatever. It's like the narcissists take it as some sort of offense to themselves. Like they are personally offended that their child is gay, and it's like, or that their child is transgender, or that their child is, I don't even know what the terms are anymore, but it does something different than the quote unquote norm. Okay. Because remember, narcissists are all about appearances. They're all about everything has to be perfect. Okay. And in their mind, a child that is not heterosexual, norm kind of thing is not perfect, because they've got very, very black and white thinking, and they've got very bizarre beliefs. And especially if they are, if they're the communal narcissists and they're the ones who are using religion, oh yeah, they will absolutely pull the homophobia card. You bet. And they will disown children and they will harm them and they will try to force them into the therapy where, the therapist is a crock pot and tells them that they're not really gay and let's get you back to normal, which is a load of shit. So anyway, there is that. So, in super dysfunctional families, like extremely, extremely dysfunctional families, what the narcissist will do is that they will force one of the kids to be the second wife or the second husband, the second spouse. So this is where you have incest. This is where the narcissist starts using the children as objects. So those are cases like that you hear like in California a couple of years ago, where the family, that the older daughter got away, and then it turned out that they had been, horrifically abused, and there was incest going on, and she was forced to take care of the younger kids, and the other daughter tried to go with her, but then she got freaked out and didn't leave, and all of that stuff. So those are cases like that. But that is all narcissistic abuse. It's this arrogance. It's this feeling like the children are not real children. They're not human beings. So remember, to a narcissist, a child has no more meaning than this bottle of water. It is an object to be used. They do not view spouses as human beings. They do not view children as human beings. And they are simply, to the narcissist, objects to be used. And this is where you get the cases of incest. So there is that. Now, let's talk about in-laws. So if you've got a narcissist for an in-law, or an in-law that's a narcissist, they will try to force their worldview of how you should be behaving on you as well, and on your spouse. So they will do things like come to your house, stay with you, and while you're at work doing your thing, they'll get your spouse's ear and they'll start going, oh, well, your wife, your husband should be doing X, Y, and Z. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. And they'll be lying to them. They will tell outright lies to the spouse, trying to cause drama. That's what they do. And so they will say things like, oh, well, your spouse should be cooking. Your spouse should be cleaning the house. Your spouse should be doing this. Your spouse should be doing that. Well, why is your wife or your husband spending money on themselves? Or why is your wife or your husband spending money on this? And what they're really pissed about is that you guys have got a good, healthy relationship and that you're not paying enough attention to them. And that's really, they're pissed and they're trying to break you up. So they use the whole role thing to try to drive wedges in between couples. So you can have a healthy relationship with somebody whose mom or dad is a narcissist, as long as, and here's the huge caveat, as long as they are in therapy. They must be in therapy, because when a child is raised by a narcissist, they've got a ton of fleas, a ton of fleas. And this is something that we talked about yesterday in the lecture that we were doing, is that one of the ladies was having a very difficult time getting angry at their abuser. And that's normal, guys, because think about it. If we were raised by abusers, okay, if we had a narcissist, a malignant borderline, etc., raising us, the messages we got from them was, don't you dare be mad at me. Don't you dare call me on my stuff. Don't you dare point out that I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Don't you dare, don't you dare, don't you dare, don't you dare, don't you dare. And so when we leave that situation and we've never fixed the original wound, and we haven't worked on ourselves, then we look outside ourselves, we find somebody just like that, right? Just like the abuser. Then we get involved with them, huge clusterfuck, then we leave, right? And then we struggle with the feelings, like I shouldn't think that about my abuser, or I shouldn't say things about my abuser. Oh my God, I'm a bad person if I call out the abuse, because that's what we've been groomed to think. So here's the deal. And I loved the way that Susanna put it. I wish to God I knew where she was this morning, because she would do a really good speech on this. But basically what she said was, and I agree 110% with her, you have to feel the feelings. And part of the feelings is that when we have been raised by a narcissist, or when we have been involved in a narcissist, we feel anger. Anger is a good emotion. Why? Because it shows us where we've been hurt. That's really all anger is it just shows us where we've been hurt. Because remember, anger is the bodyguard of the softer emotions. So fear, sadness, hurt, those are all underneath the anger. So you want to access your anger so you can access the softer emotions that are underneath that. It is okay to be angry at your abuser. It absolutely is. It absolutely is okay to be angry at your abuser. In fact, I would say it's necessary, because you got to get through the anger to get to the softer emotions, to figure out what you're feeling, to heal what needs to be healed, so that you can get to whatever grace you need to get to, okay? That is what the biggest thing is with the anger. So we're groomed not to feel angry. We're told point blank, don't you feel angry? Don't you dare. Don't you dare. I'll give you something to be angry about. I'll do this, I'll do that, blah, blah, blah. So in the abuser's world, again, I cannot stress this enough, they do not understand emotions. They don't. They can fake them, okay, really well. They can pretend to have emotions. They can pretend to be a human being. But really, at the end of the day, they don't have emotions. They don't understand what it is to love. They really, truly don't get what love is. They truly do not understand empathy. They truly do not feel for somebody. They don't. And we assume that they do, because we think that everybody thinks the way we do. They don't. They don't. And so because of that, that is why they need those very black and white, strict roles that everybody plays, because it makes it easier for them to manipulate and control and to keep the status quo if everybody is playing a role and is not a real person. They can't deal with happiness. How many times have you guys been happy and the abuser has intentionally ruined that moment? How many times have you guys been sad, like genuinely sad, like something happened horrible, like, your dog gets hit by a car, or, you lose a job, or, something like that, and you're expressing your sadness, and the abuser will either be disgusted, because that's usually what they do. They get disgusted when somebody's having a genuine emotion, or they'll be bored to death because it has nothing to do with them. That's not normal. And that's what they do, is they get upset when we start breaking out of those different roles. So for example, when a narcissist has a child, okay, they're fine with the kid being a kid until about age, I'm going to guess 5, probably 6. So when the kid starts developing their own personality, their own thoughts, their own belief systems, their own way of thinking, that is when the narcissist gets pissed off, and starts putting the kid into a role. Oh, this kid needs to be molded to be the golden child. This kid needs to be molded to be the scapegoat. This kid is not worthy of my time, therefore it's going to be the ignored middle child. Oh, this kid's the comedian. So it's like they start trying to push these people into these roles right around age 4, 5, 6, around in there. That's usually when kids start developing their own personality. And like I said, only children kind of get a double whammy because they're either shoved into one of these things or they're forced to do, all of the roles depending on what the narcissist needs. So it's really hard on only kids to deal with a narcissistic parent. And oftentimes, narcissistic parents will, if they have an only child, they will put all of their hopes, all of their dreams, all of their desires, all of their wants, all of their needs onto that one golden child. And that child is expected to fulfill the narcissist's hopes, dreams, etc., etc., etc. So say, for example, a narcissistic parent owns a business. Okay, let's say they own an automotive business. That's just pulling this out of the air. They own an automotive business and they have an only child. And they're telling this kid, you are going to take over this business. You are going to become the next mechanic. You are going to do this, you're going to do that. But the kid has no interest. I mean, they could do it. They have some mechanical skill. They could do it, but they don't enjoy it. And what they really wanted to be was, I don't know, maybe an engineer. Maybe they wanted to be something else. Maybe they wanted to do computer science. Maybe they wanted to be a lawyer. Maybe they wanted to be whatever. But the abusive parent in a single child situation where the child is the golden child, that kid gets told point blank, you will not grow up to do what you want to do. You will become what I tell you to become. You will go to school for what I tell you to go to school for. And if you don't, I will disown you. That's what they do. And if the kid is for some reason unable to fulfill that fantasy that the narcissist has, they will disown their only child. They have no qualms about that. They will also, if that doesn't work out, they'll go create another child. Like they'll find some other woman or man or whatever to go have a child with, and they will give up that first child and they will put all of their energy into this new child. So they're all about replacing. They're all about replacing the original kid with somebody else that's going to be the golden child that's going to make them look good. So it sucks to be the golden child, and it sucks to be the golden child in an only child family because you got no allies. You've got no friends. Now, you also sometimes in families where there is siblings, you have no allies or friends in there either. So interesting to me that I've been doing this for a half an hour and people have decided to sit right behind me. So anyway, no, I'm good. So what you've got is the only child has got a lot of pressure on them to perform, basically. And if you've got a crazy parent that then switches roles back and forth, you're the golden, you're the only, I'm going to ignore you, I'm going to punish you, no, you're the golden, no, you're this, no, you're that, then they will, drive that poor kid absolutely crazy. Can a child survive that? Yeah, with therapy. Abso-freaking-lutely. And that's the whole point I want to get across is when we leave an abusive relationship, it is vital that you get into a good therapist. It absolutely is vital that you get into a good therapist because the abuser has put so many odd ideas into our heads. The abuser has put so many bizarre ideas of who we are and where we belong in the universe and what our role is and what we should be doing and what we shouldn't be doing and what we should be thinking and what we shouldn't be thinking, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's really important for the child of this who's been shoved into one of these roles to go get with a good therapist and start figuring out, who are you really? Who are you really? What do you want? What do you need? What is your goal? What makes you happy? And this is something that we talked about yesterday with the group, is that when we get out of these relationships, whether it's a parental unit relationship or whether it is a romantic relationship, is that we don't know who we are. we've lost who we are. We literally do not know who we are, what we want, what we like, what we don't like, what we eat, what we don't eat, because we have been taken over by this abuser, because they have shoved their role onto us. So we are expected to meld with them, to lose ourselves and to become that abuser. That's what happens with the golden child, is that the golden child is expected to give up everything that they are and to like what the abuser likes, not like what the abuser doesn't like, and become the abuser. And this is something else that we were talking about, is that the child is not allowed to have any sort of hobbies or therapies or hobbies or things that you do. And the abuser will either take them over or take them away. So in finding yourself, it's really important to spend time alone with yourself, because you've been having somebody tell you what to do, what to think, who you are, what you like, what you don't like, what to do, what not to do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you've got a mother-in-law doing that, and if you're young, you've got a mother-in-law that's been doing, oh, well, no, you should be doing this, 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 and this, and how dare you do something different, and how dare you do this, and how dare you do that, and blah, 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 blah. So going no contact with that type of mother-in-law is 110% allowable. Absolutely. Is it going to cause problems between you and your spouse? It might. But if you can get your spouse to go to therapy to work on the relationship with you because of the mother-in-law or the father-in-law, father-in-laws can be just as damaging as mother-in-laws, then you guys have got a shot. So it's really important to remember that when you're leaving an abuser, you are leaving not just the abuser, but you are leaving abusive roles. You are leaving what was expected. You are leaving what was told. You have to act like this. You have to be this way. You have to. So that's the thing about abusers, is that they don't have any sort of ability to roll with the punches. They have no ability to, allow a child to be a child, or allow a child to explore who they are. And that's the really sad thing. Like when parents sit there and tell the child, no, I don't want you to sing. I don't want you to be silly. I don't want you to have fun. I need you to be serious because you're going to be a lawyer, or you're going to be this, or you're going to be that. That's not why we have children. We have children to grow them to the best of our abilities, and we let them choose what they want to be, and we guide them to become the best them that they possibly can. And that is the whole point of having kids. But with a narcissist, remember, they can't handle that. They don't do random. They can't run with the punches. They can't, make things work. They just can't. That's not what they are. That's not who they are. They are very rigid in their thinking. They're very black. They're very white. It's all good, all bad, all or nothing thinking. And the child must be this way, and the marriage must be this way, and this must be this way, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They're very bad at just going with it, rolling with the punches, letting the kid be the kid. So the kid is the golden child one day and the scapegoat the next, and the poor kid grows up not knowing who they are or what they truly want. So these roles are damaging. They're damaging and they're dangerous. Is the kid going to be exposed to it if you get a divorce? Well, yeah, because the narcissist is never going to stop being black and white. Just because you divorce them does not mean that they're suddenly going to have a V8 moment and go, oh shit, I've really fucked up. No, that's not going to happen. What they're going to do is they're going to continue whatever roles suit them, and whatever person they get involved with, depending on who they get involved with and how many kids are over there, and whether any of those kids can be quote unquote used. Because remember, again, even the new family, even the replacement family means nothing more to the narcissist than this bottle of water. It is an object to be used. So if the narcissist thinks that it can get under your skin by having one of the kids on this new family be the golden child, they'll do it. If the narcissist thinks they can hurt you by replacing the kids, they'll do it, because they are unethical pieces of shit, and they wouldn't know a good family if it walked up and did the Watusi with them. They don't see people as people, guys. This is what you got to get through your heads. They don't see people as people. They see them as objects to be used, and that's all that we mean to them. That's it. And even the replacement family, it's just objects to be used. So I feel sorry for replacement families because this kind of goes with my sister Nancy and me. Nancy had said, you guys were the replacement family. And I was like, oh shit, babes, I didn't know that. I'm so sorry. And she's like, how could you? You were a baby. You didn't know. And so that's something that we were talking about. And it was done intentionally to hurt her mom, who was my dad's first wife, but all of the roles were very rigid. All of the women in the family were supposed to be feminine and wear dresses and be seen and not heard and should be barefoot and pregnant. And that was my dad's roles for women. The men in the family were supposed to be lawyers. They were supposed to be, mechanics. They were supposed to be, and when the kids didn't live up to that, the insane punishment that came down on those kids' heads was crazy. And it was a warning to the other kids, oh, you better toe the line. You better behave. You better be like whatever dad wants you to be. So it's damaging for the kids. You got to get them the hell out of there. You've got to get a divorce. You've got to get a good lawyer, and you've got to get as much custody as you possibly can. Get a psych eval on these Looney Tunes if you possibly can. And you want to understand that they're always going to be abusive. They are. There is nothing you can do to stop them from being abusive. But what you can do is get the kids in therapy and work with them for how to deal with crazy mom, crazy dad, whatever. So there that is. Okay, we are at the half an hour. Do we have questions? Okay, we got questions. What do we got?
What are some strategies?
Hold on. I'm going to move over here. Hang on. Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay, there we go.
What are some strategies?
What are some strategies
besides Grey Rock
besides Grey Rock
to avoid? I think you probably
can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
They avoid being placed in customary roles when interacting with the narcissist.
What are some strategies? Well, here's the thing. Anytime you are not doing what the abuser wants, anytime you get out of being in that role, anytime, they will punish you. So just be aware that you just got to be you. You just got to be you. And you go ahead and do you. And yeah, are they going to try to force you into that role? Absolutely. My dad so badly wanted me to be the cute one and not the smart one. He did. He told everybody who would listen, like seriously, everybody who would listen, oh, Chris is the cute one, not the smart one, and Terry's the smart one, and so's the middle kid, and this, that, and the other thing, and then Nancy's the drug addict, and blah blah blah. I mean, he smeared the other kids. He did. So they're gonna do what they're gonna do. You just be you. And is it gonna cause problems? Probably. Are they gonna try to attack you and go after you? Yeah. And you just kind of gotta go, oh well, whatever. I'm not changing. Thanks. Honestly, Grey Rock and no contact is the only thing you can do. These abusers are crazy and they're damaging, and in some cases they're dangerous. So you stay away from them and you just be you. Okay, next question.
My future husband and I decided to uninvite his narc family from our wedding.
Oh, good.
Other people are saying we should have just invite them and roll with it.
Bullshit.
What should we do? How do we handle this situation?
This is your wedding. This is your wedding. And trust me, if this family is the type where you need to uninvite them, then you don't want anything to do with them. You've already drawn the line in the sand, stick to it. I hate when people say, oh, but it's your family and blah, 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 fucking bullshit. You know what? I'm sorry, but if somebody is acting like an ass wipe, you do not invite them to your wedding. You don't. If they're butt monkeys, you don't invite them to your wedding. You have the wedding the way you want it to be. You draw the line in the sand, you keep it there. Here's the deal. I love it when people are like, oh, but it's your family. Okay, take a deep breath. If you were not related to these people and they had been behaving the way they've been behaving, would you have anything to do with them? I'll bet you the answer is no. So if the answer is no, you stick to your guns, you have a great wedding. Anyone who makes you wrong for having your wedding your way is a flying monkey, which means they are either a minor narcissist themselves or they are just ignorant and don't understand the situation. Either way, you don't need these people in your lives. You go have your wedding your way. Okay, next question.
My father-in-law never said a bad word about me to my ex, privately at least, that I know of.
Okay.
but he would talk to me about calories and being slimmer in front of everyone. Do narcs sometimes humiliate publicly and not privately? Or is it more likely my ex just didn't tell me?
It's more likely your ex just didn't tell you. So narcissists don't, if they're doing stuff in public, they're doing it in private as well. Guarantee it. Usually what the narcissists do is they behave well in public and then they're nasty in private. But if the goal is to break up the couple, then they will be nasty in private as well. And they'll do nasty little, slinging shots at you, little hit and run fuck yous in public. And hitting on calories and weight and things like that, for some bizarre reason, that is stereotypical narcissistic behavior. Why? Maybe it's because people are sensitive to their weight. I don't know. Maybe it's because, they know that this is something that people are afraid of or that they're concerned about. Or maybe it's because a lot of narcissists are somatic. They care very deeply what they look like, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's hard to say. So there is that. But yeah, you can guarantee that if he was doing that in public, I'll betcha he was doing that behind your back too. Absolutely. Next question.
I'm the only child, and I was considered the golden child only when I did exactly what my mom wanted me to do.
Yep.
If I stepped out of line, she'd beat me. Good grief. What was going on with her?
She's crazy. So narcissists cannot handle opposing opinions at all, period. They cannot handle anyone having or doing a different opinion, doing things differently, having their own personality, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the line that golden children have to watch is extremely thin. And if you cross the line one way or the other, you are punished. And here's the crazy thing. With golden children, it's also not okay for them to be better than the narcissist. It's also not okay for them to not do exactly what the narcissist said. So really, every single child in a narcissistic family is in a no-win situation. So either you've got ones that are the golden children and they do exactly what mom or dad says and they're towing that line and they're walking that thin line, or if they start getting their personality, they get punished. If they do better than the narcissist, they get punished. If they don't do exactly what the narcissist says, they get punished. You are dealing with somebody who at that point is a complete dark triad. So here's the deal. The only people who beat their children, honest to God, are fucking psychopaths. Seriously, how can you beat a small little human being? Now, I can understand swatting their legs if they're like in danger, like don't you dare do that type of thing. Don't put your hand on the hot stove, that type of thing. But beating a child? What the actual fuck? Psychopaths are the ones who beat children. And psychopaths are the ones who truly cannot stand anybody not being exactly like them because it's too threatening. They are threatened if somebody is not exactly just like them. Okay. So for example, if a child, does something differently, tries something different, cleans the bathroom a different way, but it still gets done, a psychopath will come in and how did you clean that? Well, what did you use? And why didn't you do this? And why did you do that? And da-da-da-da-da, and then beat them for it, even though the bathroom still got cleaned. See where I'm going with that? So people who beat their children, people who force their child into a role, yeah, they're narcissistic, but when they cross the line into physical beating a child, that's a psychopath move. Absolutely, that is a psychopath move. You cannot beat a child and not be crazy. So there's that.
Someone was asking the question, and I think it's good for everybody. They were saying, do narcissists genuinely hate you?
Yes. Narcissists genuinely hate themselves. So a narcissist does not love, guys. I cannot say that enough. They do not have empathy. We do. When we see somebody suffering, we feel for them, okay? It's, how do I explain this? It's nature, okay? We are born with empathy. We are. When you're a baby, you have empathy. So like, when my nieces and nephews were little, if we were watching like a sad movie, like I remember one time we were watching a Tarzan movie and Brandon was just a little tiny guy and it got really sad because one of the monkeys or one of the elephants was dying and I was kind of sad. My mom was kind of sad and we were both kind of sniffling and he got really sad and he was like patting us on the arm like they're there, it's okay. So that's empathy. So that's born, okay? They don't have empathy. They do not love. They do not love. You've got to understand. You cannot treat somebody the way they treat somebody and love. That is not love.
They do hate that.
They do hate. They absolutely do hate. And they hate because they are jealous. And they hate because they are envious. And they hate because you have something that they will never possess. Not on this planet or any other planet. And what you possess is empathy. And they hate that. Once they realize that they will never, ever truly have what you have, that they will never have that sense of humor or that sense of joie de vivre or that sense of love or that sense of joy or that ability to feel other people's feelings, once they realize that they will never possess that, that is when they come after us, and that's when they try to kill us. Either literally, like, try to kill us, or they do it a soul kill. Does that make sense? So yeah, they hate, you bet, absolutely.
Okay, so someone's asking, why does my narcissistic mother try to stop me from hobbies? Like I like to play the violin.
Okay.
I don't understand what's the problem with the hobby and why they want to stop that.
So narcissists want to stop hobbies because they can't do it and or you do it better than they do. So you've got to remember, narcissists cannot stand anybody being better than them. And 100% of the world is better than them. So they are in competition with everybody, especially their own children. Let me just say that again. Narcissists are in competition with everybody, especially their own children. So they are in competition. These are the parents who hit on the daughter's boyfriend if the mom is the narcissist, because they've got to be sexier than the daughter. They've got to be more attractive than the daughter. These are the parents who, if the child is playing the violin and is good at it, they've got to come in and say, how do you do that? You're doing it this way, you're doing it wrong, you're doing this, you're doing that. Or the kid's a singer. The dad or the mom will walk in and start telling them how to sing, instead of just letting them sing and have fun and have their own hobby. They cannot stand anybody being better than them or getting attention other than them. So that's why they ruin hobbies. They take them over or they ruin them altogether. So for me, I like to sing. My dad, and I like to play the piano, my dad would come in and start telling me how to sing, and he couldn't. He sounded like Kermit the Frog, God love him. So, he would try to tell me how to sing, and then he would try to tell me how to play the piano, and eventually I just quit doing both while I lived there. I've taken them both back up. But while I lived there, I quit doing them because I got so sick and tired of him coming in and ruining my practice time or my singing time or whatever. So yeah, they do that because they're know-it-alls, and they have to be better than everybody else, and it's a competition. So yeah.
After my mom would beat me in a rage, she would feel guilty and then buy me things as a form of apology. Is this common? Why did she do that?
Okay, so what narcissists will do is they will do a rage of some sort. They'll either beat the person, or they'll scream at the person, or they'll rage and throw things and all sorts of things. And then the next day, you'll get a room full of flowers. That's the love bomb. So this is just a variation on the love bomb, the discard, the devalue, the discard, and then the love bomb. So when the narcissist realizes they've gone too far, that's when you get the over-the-top, I'm sorry, presents, which are not presents, it's a bribe, basically. So they're doing the whole, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I feel so guilty. No, they don't. They don't. They don't feel guilty. They don't. You want to know why? Because a true apology is, I am sorry, I hurt your feelings, I hurt you, and it will never happen again. And then it never happens again. But with narcissists, they abuse, and then it happens again after the apology. I'm sorry, it'll never happen again. Oh, baby, I'll change, it'll be different this time. Room full of flowers, it'll never happen. 6 months later, boom, it happens again. So it's a cycle for them. They're not sorry. They don't feel guilty. What they're afraid of is somebody outside going, oh, look, they're a horrible person. That's what they're afraid of. Because what they're hoping you're going to do is go, oh, well, they beat me, but you know what? Look at this beautiful room of flowers or room of gifts or room of whatever that they gave me. Because things are important to them, not people. So that's why they do that. It's all a perception thing. They don't feel guilty. They don't. If they did, they wouldn't do it. Does that make sense? So I hope that answered your question. Okay, next question.
What do you do with siblings that insist on putting you in the roles?
All right, what do you do with siblings that insist on putting you in the roles? You put your foot down and you go, no, and you don't be around them. So, yeah, you are going to have siblings that are going to want you to maintain the status quo. Why? Because when one sibling jumps out of the scapegoat role, some other sibling has to fill it. And so they're very invested in not having those roles be moved. Absolutely. So it's really important to not allow the siblings to shove you back into the scapegoat role or into the golden child or the comedian or whatever, because they when a family member moves out of one of those roles, somebody else has to fill it, because the narcissist will not allow that role to not be filled. So that's why. All right, next question.
How do you handle the echoes of the roles in your own head? For example, as the designated scapegoat, any mistake I make seems like proof that I'm a failure.
Very common, guys. Very, very common. So you got to be gentle with you. You just have to be gentle with you. Here's the thing. Scapegoats, golden children, comedians, we all get that inner critic stuck in our head going, no, 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 you've got to stay in this role. No, 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 you fucked up. Therefore, dad or mom was right, blah, blah, blah. So this is really going to be important for you to start getting a therapist. And I got to get out of the sun here. Looking for a therapist and start working on that inner critic. Okay. You've got to work on the inner critic, and you've got to get rid of that voice that says, oh my God, you're a fuck up. You fucked up. You're a scapegoat. You're this, you're that. Here's the deal, guys. How do babies learn how to walk? Babies learn how to walk by falling down frequently on their ass, occasionally on their heads. That's how they learn. Mistakes are just that. They are mistakes. They are a learning experience. We, however, assign a meaning to it, meaning that we're a fuck up, or we're not good enough, or we're bad, or we're wrong, or dad was right, or mom was right, or whatever. You got to stop that. So when those voices pop up, you have to be like, thank you for your input. Shut the fuck up. Why? Because I say so. And, because it's an and world, and it's okay for me to make a mistake as long as I learn from it. And don't do it again, obviously, so you learn from it and you move on. It's a learning experience. Do you know how many times I've fucked up, guys? I have fucked up so many times. Absolutely. And if I allowed my dad's voice in my head to stop me, I would not be talking to you right here, right now. I would not be doing lectures. I would not have the 2 books out that I have right now. So you've got to tell that voice, thank you for playing. Shut the fuck up. Why? Because I say so. I'm the boss. And guess what? It's okay for me to make mistakes as long as I learn from them and don't keep doing the same mistake over and over and over and over again. So that's how we start working on that. You're going to have to start doing the Inner Child Workbook by Catherine Taylor. You're also going to have to start doing the CPTSD from Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker. Why? Because we have to confront all of these negative, nasty thoughts that mom and dad shoved into your head mistakenly, mistaken thoughts, mistaken beliefs. They're not real. They're mom and dad's. They're not yours. Okay? So that's what you got to do. And you got to be gentle with you. Super gentle with you. Get with a good therapist. Get with a good therapist and start working on the internal dialogue. Absolutely. Okay, next question.
How do I truly emotionally let go of my ex-boyfriend who's ruined me financially because of his drug addiction? He's homeless now, but I still feel responsible.
Okay. So letting go is super hard to do because we were groomed to be caregivers. So that is part of codependency, all right? So you're going to want to get The Disease to Please by Harriet Breaker. You're going to want to read Codependent No More by Melanie Beattie, Beyond Codependent No More also by Melanie Beattie. You're going to want to start working on that codependency. You are not responsible for this person. You are only responsible for you. So you're going to write and burn letters. Dear so-and-so, here's the good, the bad, the ugly, the horrific. At the very, very end, goodbye. You are not my responsibility. I refuse to feel guilty 1 second more. Anytime in a relationship, if you feel fear, obligation, or guilt, you are in an abusive relationship. Period. So fear, obligation, and guilt are the tools of the trade of abusers. So they try to make us feel obligated to them. They try to make us feel guilty for them. They try to make us feel like we are responsible for their well-being. We're not. They are responsible for them. We are responsible for us. And then as a couple, if we are together, we work on each other and ourselves, okay? But we are not ever responsible for another person's feelings, ever, or how they're doing, ever. You know, so letting go of the anger, again, you got to access the anger. You have a lot to be angry about. This person bankrupted you. This person put the financial brakes on your life. So you've got to get angry about that. Write an angry letter, burn it, let it go. Get with a good therapist, start working on the codependency. Wrap it up. Okay. All right. Wrap it up. Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in today. I truly appreciate it. Thank you to all the participants yesterday. That was a fantastic meeting. I was so happy to meet all of you guys and to help all of you guys. And I am honored that some of you flew in from other states just to do that. I really appreciate it. The next thing that we are doing is the cruise. That is going to be December 6th through the 9th. You are still available to get tickets. They're still available. So if you're interested in going on the cruise, contact Chris, C-H-R-I-S, at Mercury, MURCURI.com. For those that can't go on the cruise, we are going to be doing a lecture in Orlando on December, 14th? 14th? Yeah, December 14th, I think. Go to Eventbrite and check the times. We've got events all the way through to July, so go check out where I'm going to be this next coming 6, 7, 8 months. And that's it. So listen, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Next week, I can't think of what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about something else, and I cannot think of it, but I'll think of it and I'll post it, and there it'll be. All right, guys, have a great day, guys. Be good to yourselves. Be kind to yourself. Make sure that your inner dialogue is good. Love you all. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye. Oh, how do I stop this? Oh, good God. There it is.